All right, let's see how it works now. I've never tried Zoom through the cell phone, so hopefully it's working with the laptop, at least on my part. Now, how's the reception now? Are you hearing?
Yeah, at the moment we can hear you really
so
well.
much better. Yes.
Excuse me, Professor. Why today the class in Zoom?
I mean, if you want, we can go back to Teams, but I think it's going to be a pain in the neck. Try to fix the sound issues. There were some sound issues, William, that I could not fix, and I received constant feedback about the low quality of the sound and the low quality of the teaching as well. But
Okay.
I can only fix the sound quality, not the teaching.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of problems with
yes.
Teams.
Yeah, that's right. But
Yeah, I had a big problem too.
So I was told that you had issues trying to connect today. All right, so the idea is that we have two tasks today, and one of the tasks has to do with the pronunciation of derivatives or words that in which suffixes are attached or prefixes are attached, or both at the same time. And the other task has to do with one topic of your interest that you chose previously, and that you're going to share, and you're going to teach us, some expressions or words. At the same time, we're going to connect this text with the previous activity, which is we're going to identify certain words that contain suffixes, and we're going to see how the stress might shift from one syllable to the other. Like, for example, in the word collaboration, if you think about the root of the word, is collaborate, collaboration. So there is a shift of the stress from one syllable to another one. But sometimes that's not what happens. So we're going to see this in your exercises. So which task do you think you would like to start according to your own interest?
Maybe I would like to start with the sentences, because I didn't present that task last class.
You are mute, teacher.
Yes.
Microphone is mute, teacher.
You're mute.
Oh my God. Okay. Does anyone disagree with Daniela's comment?
Actually, it's right, teacher. For those people who didn't present the last class, they can have the opportunity to do it now.
Perfect. All right. Daniela, would you like to start with your own presentation?
Okay, I will share my screen. Oh, sorry, I was mute. I did every example in every sentence. The first word is photography. And the example is, he is very interested in photography. It is his hobby. Then I have politician, inefficient, superstitious, scientist, available, motherhood, stressful, timeless, illness, Chinese, statute, and grotesque. I think that there's someone in the chat. Yes, I think that the sentences is just for those that couldn't present last class. Maybe if there is any volunteer that could help me reading the next examples.
I could help you, Danny.
Thank you.
Okay. The first example, I start, right? Could you hear me?
Yes, we can, Willy. Just talk, please.
Okay.
Yes.
The
I was
first,
mute, sorry. The first one I already read. So you can continue with the second, the third, anyone you choose.
okay.
Yes, after Willy.
Politician. An important politician was accused about horrible things. The third, inefficient. My work was inefficient and therefore I had a bad mark. Fourth, superstitions. Lately, some people are superstitious about too many things. Fifth, scientist. Nowadays, every scientist is looking for a vaccine in all world. Available. Your next task is going to be available in the platform very soon.
Thank you, Willy. Is there any other volunteer who would like to read?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Julian.
We have the first word is motherhood. The sentence is motherhood is a very difficult and long way, but also is wonderful. I have to read all of them, right? Danny?
If you like, yes.
Okay. I'm going to read the front three, okay? Another people. So, okay. Stressful.
Okay.
Our last work was so stressful that I couldn't sleep well. I couldn't sleep well last night. Timeless. I took like a timeless place, but there has been changes. There has been changes. And is the last one, I think? No.
There is a couple ones left, but if you like, I could read them.
Go ahead.
Okay. Then we got illness. And the example is today, COVID-19 is a terrible illness for everyone. That's why we need to take care about ourselves. Then we got Chinese. The example is, in our Spanish class, we have a Chinese classmate. Then we've got a statue. In my grandmother's house, there is a very small statue in her night table. And it was a lovely statue, so I bought it for my mom as a gift. And the last one is grotesque. His way of talking about someone that is not of his liking is very grotesque. And finally, she had put herself so much makeup That looks grotesque.
Super. Super duper. Daniela, sorry, I didn't tell you not to stop sharing. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. I didn't say it before. And there's one of the last suffixes, it was et, right? Et. And at the bottom of the page in red. So your transcription was statuette. And then when you read, you say statuette. So that's something that we need to take care of when the example says, okay, this suffix is attracting the stress. Then the transcription says, you know what the primary stress is there in the final syllable? So
yes, it's a hard word for me.
It is a hard word, I think, for everyone. It's hard for me, and I know lots of people who cannot pronounce it quite well. Myself, I sometimes make a mistake, even though I know that the stress should be placed in the last syllable. So I totally understand. Statuette. Yes, statuette. Statuette, like silhouette. Sounds quite French, doesn't it? So yes. And if you scroll up a little bit, I guess in the first page, one of the first words, these are just very, very brief comments, because the examples of words and the words in context are very good. So the first one is photography, then politician, and the next one, if you read the transcription, inefficient, right? It's interesting.
Inefficient.
Yeah, inefficient. Many of these words end in schwa. Remember, this is not for Daniela, but for everyone in the room. When you place or when you use a schwa, it's got to be a very relaxed sound. It's like when you wake up and you stretch your arms and you say, you start yawning. That's what you need to get when you are pronouncing a vowel like this, right? Like, I don't know, you are carrying, your mother gave you, or someone gave you a plate, and someone let it slip from your finger, and it's on the floor, and you have no explanation, but your face is like, and you don't know what to say. That's the vowel sound that you need to get. So politician, inefficient. Look at the fourth word, superstitious. So the spelling of superstitious is I-O-U. That's sort of a cluster of vowels, right? A group of vowels. But they are only reduced to a vowel sound, which is a schwa. So 3 vowels, 3 letters, 1 sound, superstitious. Okay, so that's something we need to take care of. And the very last comment is that I think scientist is not the, how many syllables do you think there are there in the word scientist?
I think it's only 2.
2?
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
It's contained for many vowel sound, but we have a diphthong and then we have a vowels, but we only have like two sound. Scientist. It's like 2 vowels.
Okay. Okay, let me put it this way. We consider sound as sound units, monophthongs and diphthongs, right? So a monophthong is per se a nucleus, right? I'm talking about, I don't know, long vowel sounds like E, U, O, right? Ah, and short vowel sounds like the ones that are lax, right? E, E, A, A. But triphthongs, because we have we have a triphthong there, we should divide it into a diphthong and a schwa. So the diphthong can be the peak or the nucleus for one syllable, but the schwa has to be the nucleus or peak for a different syllable. So what I'm proposing is, I think psi and the diphthong I could be one syllable, because the nucleus of that syllable is the diphthong I. And the schwa, as that's another vowel sound, right? Remember, we're not considering a triphthong as one sound unit, but as a diphthong and a schwa. So we have to separate them. So the next syllable should be a schwa, plus the coda, Sorry, comments or questions?
So we're supposed to put a dot between the diphthong to separate it, to divide it.
Exactly. We're supposed
Well,
to place a dot. Yes.
So in this case, it's supposed to have like three vowels on, I think, if we separate them, or no?
Exactly. If we separate them, we're considering as the first syllable, psi. The second syllable should have a nucleus, a vowel sound. So it's the schwa, exactly. And then un. And the last one, test.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I mean, it could be that the second syllable could be schwa, the consonant n, and the consonant t. I mean, that could be possible, but there's a theory, which is the minimal onset principle, that tells that instead of joining this t from the first one in test, right, as a coda for the syllable in the middle, it should be placed as an onset for the following syllable. Meaning that the first one in test, okay, scientist, the first one in test should be placed in the third syllable as the onset of the third syllable, not as the coda of the second syllable. I don't know if it makes sense now, but it will eventually, because we're going to cover a little bit of theory later, all right? A little bit of theory that tries to explain how messy is this syllable division. Daniela, great examples. Thank you very much for sharing. Anyone else is willing to share now?
Can I share, teacher?
Absolutely. Miss Elizabeth Loyola, go ahead.
Okay, just give me a second.
Anytime, take your time. You're sharing.
Okay, thank you. So for the first group, in which the stress usually falls on the preceding syllable, I selected the suffixes graphy, ik, ians, ion, and if. For the first case, I have autobiography, and the example is Autobiography is a book by the British singer-songwriter Morrissey. Then we have for ik, analytic. He gave analytic accounts on his recovery. Then we have conscience. Complexes forms like the reflexive conscience are explained. Then we have celebration. You pass your test, let's have a celebration. And then I have expensive, do not buy expensive clothes again. And then for the second group, These words do not change their stress placement. I selected age, full, each, meant, and wise. In the first case, I have hostage. The hostages were released. Then I have thankful. We were thankful for all his help. Then childish. Don't be so childish. Movement. His movements were rather clumsy. Otherwise, I must study hard, otherwise I will have trouble. And for the last group, the stress is attracted by the suffix. I select double E, then S, et, and esc. In the first case, I have nominee, and the nominees for best movie adaptations are then devotee. He is a great devotee of the Prime Minister. Then Japanese. He is the most unusual Japanese I have ever met before. Diskette. I found a very old diskette in the basement. And then arabesque. The students practiced their arabesques. And those are the words.
Wonderful, wonderful. What can I say? I think it's a very complete task, including the category or the type of stress, then the suffix, then the example, and the examples in context, including the phonetic transcription. So I really think it's a very, very complete task, and I find very hard to give you feedback in terms of what's missing, but on the opposite, give you feedback on how complete and how good the examples are. So thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the only thing has to do with in the last category, the first column, remember is to use a participle as is attracted. Okay, the stress is attracted. So you add ed to the, that's the only little thing that I could contribute, all right?
Okay, thank you so much.
All righty, thank you for sharing. Anyone interested in sharing these sentences? There are at least 13 participants. I'm sure some of you have not read your sentences. And even if you did not complete the whole task, don't be shy. If you have only 5 sentences, I'm going to be very happy if you share them, even if there are only 5 or 3. Just put in a number. No pressures at all right? Okay, since there are no more participants willing to share their sentences, and considering that we still have time for to finish this session in Zoom, I think it's, how much time is this? It's 30 minutes, 40 minutes that we are given for those users.
40.
40? Okay, 40, thank you. So let's go to the second task, which was to select a piece of writing or from a website that was interesting for you. Anyone willing to share? Thank you.
I can share.
Yes?
I would like to share, but I think Esther.
I win.
Yeah.
I won.
yeah, Esther won. Sorry. You were not very fast, Julian.
I will be prepared for last one. For the second.
So Esther, totally up to you if you want to read the whole thing, all the paragraphs, or if you make people participate, all right? If you make...
I'm going to read the 2 first paragraph, and then Julian, can you read at the end of the text?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Okay, and after that, we're going to see some syllables and suffix. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to start then. I'm sorry, my cell phone is slowly. Okay. Defund the police. Enough is enough. Our pain, our cries, and our need to be seen and heard resonate throughout this entire country. We demand acknowledgement and accountability for the devaluation and dehumanization of Black lives at the hands of the police. We call for radical, sustainable solutions that affirm the prosperity of Black lives. So, Yulin, can you start to read? Julian, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I start from where? From
Since George said.
okay, George. So, Giorgio, Violet Beef was a breaking point and all too familiar remember that that for black people law enforcement doesn't protect or save our lives. They often threaten and take them. Right now, municipalities, municipalities and cities across our country are are on fire. Sorry, and our people are hungry. No, hurting. The violence against against black bodies for failed in the ongoing mass disobedience, or while we grieve with a pandemic that is disproportionately affecting, infecting, and killing us.
Okay,
We
thank
call.
you, Julian. I'm going to read again, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
We call for an end to the systemic racism that allows this culture of corruption to go unchecked and our lives to be taken. We call for a national defunding of police. We demand investment in our communities and the resources to ensure Black people not only survive but thrive. If you're with us, add your name to the petition right now and help us spread the word. So we're going to work with the next success. With this, with this success, and we're going to start for this paragraph. So, William, can you tell me which success are in this phrase? William, are you here?
In resonate,
Okay, that's great. I'm going to highlight
resonate,
this. Okay, it's fine. It's only resonate.
okay.
So, Elizabeth Loyola, can you tell me which suffixes are in this phrase, please?
I think that acknowledgement, accountability, devaluation, the dehumanization, um, I think that's it.
Okay, that's fine. And the next one we're going to do is counting the syllables. So Can someone tell me how many syllables systemic have?
Maybe 3 syllables.
Okay, that's good. It has 3 syllables. I'm going to highlight another part. Oops. Oh no. Okay. Okay. And the last word, I think is this word. How many syllables has dehumanization? Anyone? Maybe Nelson?
I think it's tricky, but I think that has 6 syllables.
Yeah, that's right. It has 6
Okay.
syllables. And I guess that's it.
All right, thank you so much. A very interesting way to approach this exercise by interacting with the audience and also taking care of the suffixes, right? Esther, can you go back to your text, please? If you don't mind. So the point of this exercise is identifying, well, of course, taking care of the pronunciation, right? But we need to identify if there is a shift of the stress in the words. For example, if you check the word, the first one, I think the pronunciation is resonate in the first syllable, okay? Resonate would be the pronunciation, the stress, primary stress would be placed on the first syllable in that particular word, okay? In the case of the second one, acknowledgement, I think acknowledgement comes from the root knowledge or know, maybe? What do you think? What's the basic root for acknowledgement?
I think it's knowledge.
Knowledge, all right. But knowledge comes from probably know, right? What do you think? So know, knowledge, acknowledgement, right? So acknowledgement would be stressed on the second syllable. Is that true or false? Acknowledgement. Second syllable. A question for everyone in the room. You're all welcome to participate. Acknowledgement, is the second syllable the one that is most prominent of all? What do you think?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please? My internet is so low, so I can hear you well.
Sure. The word acknowledgement, acknowledgement, which is the syllable that is most prominent of all?
The second one?
The second one, right? From the four, the second one's
no,
right?
Acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In general, the root is no. It contains a diphthong. But when you add suffixes, the diphthong becomes a monophthong. No, acknowledgement, no. So we don't use the diphthong anymore. We use a monophthong. Acknowledgement. Okay. Exactly, the second syllable. And in the word accountability, I guess the root would be account, accountability, accountability. So there is a shift of the stress in the word account, maybe the root might be count. Account is right, the second syllable, but accountability, is probably the fourth syllable, the one that is stressed. Okay. The word in yellow, dehumanization, it's a very complex word to say. The root probably is, what do you think? What's the most basic component of this word? Very good text, by the way.
Of which word, teacher? I couldn't hear well.
The one in yellow, dehumanization.
Is the teacher here?
Yes, I am.
It seems that he's
I think
having problems again.
he's
Really?
fine.
Which el profe.
He's frozen.
But I sent
Teacher, you're frozen?
I sent a message.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a robot now.
He's a robot.
Teacher, your connection is very unstable.
It is. It is.
Oh,
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello?
Yes, now very, very clear.
Yes.
Good.
Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear me
teacher,
now?
yes, teacher, we can hear you now.
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So the word in yellow, the one that Esther has in her second paragraph, dehumanization, that's a very long and complex word full of one prefix and several suffixes. What's the root of this word? What's the most basic component of dehumanization? What do you think?
Human?
Human, right? Human. Human is stressed in
In the first syllable?
in the first syllable, right? And when we say this complex word, do we shift the stress?
No.
No? Do we keep the stress in the same place?
I think.
yeah.
Can you pronounce the word again, teacher?
We have 1 minute left.
Oh, we have 1 minute left. Okay, so I guess as soon as we finish, we're going to take a break, a 10-minute break, okay, the break that we usually have. And then we're going to resume the session right here in Zoom because it seems to be working better.
Are we going to use the same link?
The same application, the same, yeah, Zoom, I think. Is that the question?
The same link or a new one?
I think the same one. I think the same one, yes. By the way,